This is Mr. Jackson with SEU, and we are starting a new chapter in chapter number 3. So this week, you guys make sure that you go ahead and review some of your chapter 2 informations because we will have that test starting on Tuesday. Sorry, I forgot about the holiday that's on Monday there, but I hope that you guys enjoy that holiday. But our test for chapter 2 will be on Tuesday when you guys return. But we're going to go ahead and move on to chapter 3, where we will discuss computer software. And also, starting this new week, our stuff will be transitioning onto MyFire Brightspace. So for our new chapter, chapter 3, that's going to be on the MyFire Brightspace system. So if you haven't been able to set that stuff up yet, go ahead and make sure that you do so. So that way we can get you started and get you moving. All right, so talking about computer software. Here are our learning objectives. So we want to explain the system software and operating systems. We don't want to identify operating systems and how they're used for our personal computers, mobile devices, and servers. We also want to identify the utility programs and explain their purpose. Describe the common characteristics of applications and software. Describe application software used for business, and identify types of software used for working with multimedia platforms, and then describe other types of applications software. So first we're going to start with that operation systems. All right, so system software and operation systems. So the topics that we're going to cover in this area are the functions of the operating system, processing techniques for increased efficiency, differences among operating systems that are available. So about a system software and operating system. So your system software is programs that control a computer and its devices and enable it to run application software. All right, so that's our program that controls the computer and its devices to enable it to run application software. And so a part of that is called our operating system, or OS, and that manages and coordinates activities taking place within the computer. Then we have utility programs that perform specific utility tasks, within your computer every so often. And then the boot process is the action taken, including the loading of the operating system and its kernel essential parts. So the boot process is whenever you guys, first start up your computer, it goes through that process where it's opening up, whether it's Windows or if it's a Mac. So it's that boot up process when it's starting. So functions of the operating system is basically an intermediary between the user and the computer. So it goes through this process here. We have the user who gives the instructions for the operating system to start an application. So like whenever you guys click on an application. And then the operating system starts the program that's requested. So here you see an example of that. The user. Oh, and I want to use the pen here. So the user. Oh, that's a little bit bad. But the user go ahead and instructs the computer to print a project. So you want to do that on like Microsoft Word. All right, and then you have the application program. The program, hands the document over to the operating system for it to go to that printing process. And then after that, the operating system sends the document to the printer. So it processes it there, and then the printer prints the document. Okay, so we kind of go through that process. The user wants it to perform a particular task, selects on a particular button for the computer to do it. The application program gets it and hands it over to the operating system. The operating system then sends that document to the printer for it to be processed. So that's how your operating system works. It's kind of like an intermediary that allows it to do certain things. So your user interface enables individuals to interact with the operating system. So that's what a user interface is. So moving on from there are functions of the operating system. It determines the devices connected to the computer during the boot process. So whenever you're booting your computer up, it actually goes through that process of checking what is connected. Like if you ever had a desktop and let's say for instance that the keyboard wasn't connected or the wire or the mouse wasn't connected, it would determine that in the boot up process and it'll probably give you an error message. It also configures all devices connected to the computer, so it goes through that configuration. Device drivers communicate with peripheral devices such as printers and storage devices. So during that boot up process, anything that you have connected, it starts to, upload those drivers, so that way once the computer is started, you're able to continue and do whatever you need to do. Then it manages all computer resources and makes them available to programs and devices as needed. Also performs file management and security tasks. So processing of efficiency techniques for increased efficiency. Multitasking and multi-threading, the ability to have more than one program or task or thread upon one time. So that is a part of our processing, right? We're able to do more than one thing at one time with our computers. So sequential processing rotates between tasks. And then multiprocessing and parallel processing is the use of multiple processors or cores to perform tasks more efficiently. All right. So the multitasking is whenever our computer is doing more than one thing at a time, and then the multiprocessing allows us to perform those different tasks efficiently. All right. So just gives the difference between simultaneous processing. So you understand that simultaneous means that they're happening at the same time, right? At one time. Your multi-processing, typical multiple jobs are happening, and then your parallel typically work on one job. So two different items that are working together to complete one task. All right, and so this is just an example of how it goes through that process. All right, and an example is for your Word document. Let me try my pen again. Oh, went too far. All right, so for our sequential processing tasks that are performed one right after another. Okay, so let's say for instance that we begin processing a Microsoft Word document for spell check. Then we want to go ahead and go to a website, check our email, perform spreadsheet calculations, continue to Word, and then finish web page loading. So this is just on a single CPU that is going through that process. All right, maybe I'll work on Microsoft Word here. Maybe I'll open a website there. Maybe I'll go ahead and check an email next. So it's going through a process of doing things. All right, so for our simultaneous, just like I said, multiple tasks are performed at the exact same time. So, while my doing the process of spell checking, then there's a web page that's opening, it's checking for my email at the same time. So, it's just a simultaneous process. And then parallel processing, all right. So you have two things that are working together for a single task. So your virtual memory uses a portion of your computer's hard drive as additional RAM. So pages of data or programs that are copied from RAM to the hard drive to free up RAM space. And then the pages are copied back to the RAM when they are needed. So this is kind of like our virtual memory. It's like a storage facility. So we'll move things to one part of our computer, and then it'll move it back when you actually need it. The buffer is an area of the RAM or on the hard drive designed to hold data that is waiting to be used by the computer. All right. So that buffer is that place where those kind of like your storage of your data goes while you're waiting for it to be used. So buffering spooling is placing items in a buffer so they can be used when needed. All right. So the buffer is where it is, and then the buffering is placing it there. So that's the process of placing it there. Difference among operating systems. So there's a graphical user interface versus a command line interface. All right, so your graphical user interface objects such as tiles, icons, buttons, and menus are selected by the mouse and pinned. And then your command side, it looks like the most, kind of like the basic form where everything is done through the process of your keyboard. Obviously, we all use the graphical user interface whenever our computer is open. And then, if we ever need to do some more tech-savvy stuff with our computer, then we'll use command prompts. And you kind of have to have a little bit of a knowledge of what you're doing in that particular system for it to work. So there are different types of operating systems. So there's a personal desktop operating system designed to be installed on a single computer. There's a server operating system designed to be installed on a network server. Mobile operating system designed for smartphones and other mobile devices. And then embedded operating system built into consumer products. All right. So this will be our next set of topics that we're going to cover. So we are done for today on this part. All right. So next time when you guys come in, then we'll go ahead and continue by going over operating systems, and so that way we can cover those topics. All right, so thank you guys very much for watching this video for today, and then we'll have some other things for you to do. Make sure that you guys start by going to your Cengage online and start reading and reviewing the text, watching the videos, doing the interactive assignments there, so that way we can continue learning, and you guys are doing a great job. So thank you very much. Have a good one.